Okay, good evening everyone. I'd like to call to order this meeting of the Naperville Park District Board of Commissioners. It is Tuesday, November 12th, 2019 at 6:30 p.m. If everyone will please rise for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Take the roll.
President Janner?
Here.
Vice President King?
Here.
Commissioner Carlson? Commissioner Egan?
Present.
Commissioner McBroom?
Here.
Commissioner Riley?
Here.
Commissioner Todd? Here.
Matters from the public. Bridget, is anyone from the public signed up to speak?
No.
Okay, then we'll move on to new business. First item on our new business is agreement with Naperville Youth Development Coalition, Inc., also known as Kids Matter.
Move to approve the agreement with the Naperville Youth Development Coalition, Inc. Doing business as Kids Matter. Second.
Any discussion? Bridget, if you would, please.
Vice President King?
Yes.
Commissioner Riley?
Yes.
Commissioner Carlson? Absent. Commissioner Egan?
Aye.
Commissioner McBroom?
Yes.
Commissioner Todd?
Yes.
President Janner?
Yes. We'll then move on to the 2020 budget presentation. Sue, it's all yours.
It's all mine, and I'm going to turn it right over to Ray.
All right.
Way to
Hot potato.
Notice how she's always at the exit door. Before we go to the next slide, this is by far becoming the most popular piece we've ever put in the playground. And I think Bridget can attest to that with her children. I have gotten more comments from people in the community about this than anything else.
What's it called?
Eric, what's it called?
It's just a owl spinner is the name of it, and it's actually part of the outreach when we had online with residents over summer, and they identified that they wanted this piece of equipment with their playground layout. So this is part of the input we received from the residents this summer.
Great.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
All right.
And so we'll get started here. And I'm not going to go through each and every one of these, but certainly we should be proud, not only as staff, but certainly as Board of Commissioners, for a lot of the accomplishments that we've seen here in 2019 between this building here and the build out that we did, Wolf's Crossing, redevelopment of Mack Park, and some of the playground renovations. And finally, the Healing Field of Honor. And before we go to the next slide, for clarification, we're hoping to be able to take this down Saturday or Sunday at this point. We're supposed to come down today. Not a good day to be out there, obviously, for many reasons. One of which is, steel rebar sticking out of the ground, and so a little dangerous. I did get a phone call from somebody who was concerned that the sled hill was not open, and they wanted me to take the flags out. So I said, just rest assured that we would get those down, and hopefully snow will be left for you. Some accolades here. Again, very fortunate in some of the things that we benefit from this year between the OSLA grant, DuPage County Water Quality Grant, bringing the inaugural Chicago Metro Pickleball Tournament, which I believe will be coming back next year, and then Perderma's $1,000 Safety Grant Award.
Hang on, I'm sorry. I skipped one.
Yeah, I was going to say,
Yeah, it went quick.
so rewind that. Getting some donations from Jimmy Wolf Chivas, Jackie Gonzalez being mentioned and awarded several different awards this year for her aquatics capabilities. You see both of those there. And then the partnership that we created, the Park District did with Pulte Homes and the Wagner family to secure $202,800 naming rights for the Wagner Family Pavilion, which is going in to the 91st Street Community Complex.
There we go.
For the accolades, Fort Hill Fitness Center was named the best family fitness center in DuPage County. And of course, Omar continues to shine with several different awards that he received for different things that he's done in the technology field. Continues to excel just like all the staff does, but it's nice to be recognized for these things by your peers. Something we've talked about before and we continue to hone in on is the concept of health span versus lifespan. Everybody wants to live to 100, but if you hit 80 in the next 20 years, it's just horrible. We're really looking to gear our programming to quality of life as opposed to quantity of numbers. We think we can probably get the quantity of numbers as well. So just focusing in on the different programs we offer and really looking at the health span, which promotes or supports our mission statement of healthy minds, lives, and a community. And again, always looking holistically at the offerings that we have to make sure that we're meeting that internal goal of ours. And this is just kind of a quick graphic here about some of the challenges that, and they're, when I say challenges, there are obviously organizations, municipalities that are in much worse positions and are dealing with much worse things. These are good problems to have that we have here at the Park District, but it continues to get a little bit tougher. As we know, we are built out here, and at some point in time, whether we acquire someplace in this area, whether we build south, we will probably need to be doing something to address the needs that we already see. And it's a broken record. I'm not going to go back into wait, this and that. We all know what we're dealing with here. And again, those are good problems to have. People are coming. People are using it. Fort Hill, but again, we are becoming very tight on indoor space again. The other issue is taking care of not only what we have, but who we have. And there's a continuous battle, as you know, with the economy as good as it is, to attract really, really great employees. President Janner's mentioned several different times about being creative, with different incentives. We continue to do that, but we also are up against, at the end of the day, and speaking with some of the people that have gone to other jobs or would love to work for us, but it comes down to money. It just basically comes down to how much money is in my pocket. I don't care about playing golf. I don't care about going to your Fort Hill. I don't care about going to your beach. All I care about is I'm making $23 an hour. Can you match that? Kind of goes right back to that. I'm not saying that we're going to stop trying to incentivize people, but take-home money is what people, take-home pays are really looking for. And again, this just illustrates emails that I've sent out throughout the year to you. I know some of you have sent some back out to us, staff. There's nothing shocking on here that who we're up against.
Okay, to continue on the War for Talent theme, what we're noticing is that it's taking an increased investment of staff time to recruit. We're working a lot of cross-functional teams. For example, when we're recruiting for the beach, it's not only me and Lisette from my department that's in on those meetings, it's Brad, it's Jackie Gonzalez, it's Sam. We've relied heavily on the marketing department, both our creative services manager Spencer, and then also our new graphics designer Chris to help just create banners. We've created posters, postcards. So it's taking a lot more effort to get those quality candidates in. And the more turnover we have, then it's more orientation time, higher time, and that seems to hit parks, especially for based on the fact that they're using a lot of equipment, chemicals, things along those lines. So some of the more challenging positions lately have been part-time custodial positions for one. In 2020, we are anticipating taking the short-term wages or portion thereof and reclassifying the position to full-time. It is easier to attract full-time custodians. They're looking for the benefits in addition to the compensation. Program instructors and referees have been a challenge. Soccer, specifically this fall, has been a challenge, and one of the things that Recreation has looked at doing in kind of a test run is to work with an outside contractor to supply referees to, they've identified certain parks to kind of see if that's going to work and what the potential impact would be to the service levels we provide. Concession operations at golf and at the cafe continue to be a challenge. The grill is easy enough, but we're looking at a different demographic. That's high school students typically that work at that facility. And then the part-time maintenance position for parks and golf. Let's just continue. So adding to that, War for Talent is the increasing minimum wage. January 1st, it goes up $1 to $9.25, and then July 1st, it goes up to $10 and $1 thereafter every year through 2025. So we're not only looking at ensuring that we're in compliance with meeting minimum wage, we're also focusing on compression. Just because $15 seems really astronomical to pay somebody to work at the grill, doesn't mean that we're necessarily going to be able to get people from minimum wage. Now, one slide or a couple slides ago, $13 an hour to work at Target. They're already significantly above minimum wage. So we want to make sure that we can continue to attract people and then also retain people, because they don't want to necessarily be in there 5 years. This person's making a nickel less than the kind of situation if lose that knowledge and the skills investment in those employees.
And then moving forward, the goals for this year, the capital projects in 95th Street Community Plaza, Wolf's Crossing Community Park, the redevelopment of Knock Park, supporting Naperville response for veterans, hosting the inaugural 2-day event that'll be coming to Rotary Hill, and then developing a plan to address community indoor space needs and program capacity issues, something that I just spoke about a few minutes ago. Some of the key renovations, Brighton Ridge Park, Brush Hill, Frontier Sports Complex, and Walnut.
All right, now getting into the budget. Hopefully you've had a chance to look at it, at least read the opening pages to give you an overview. If you have any questions, please just jump in or have specific questions on the pages. We can go through that. I'm going to stick to high-level overviews here, and hopefully the questions that came in, that the responses make sense, and we're able to all look at those also. So overall, our 2020 consolidated budget, and that includes all of our operating funds, plus we call our capital department, which again is a pretty substantial amount for this year. We have a $57.2 million budget. Of that, $19.1 million is specifically for capital projects. And I know you've all seen the list that Eric puts together, and we went through that whole process over the past months to lock down what those projects are going to be and the funding for those. So when we look at our operating budget, that includes what we consider operating is everything except for capital and for debt service. That is $30 million. And we have, and I know there was a question, President Jenner, that you had drawdown in deficits. And you'll see that we have an operating drawdown of $154,000 when we look at the operating budget in total. And that's really the result of 3 funds that fluctuate year to year and that we've been managing fairly close to avoid tax objections. So what would happen, for example, say in our IMRF fund, is we levy a dollar amount based on the wages that we are anticipating we're going to spend that year. And then we either have vacancies or maybe some, we even have some part-time wages, that part-time folks that are qualified over 1,000 hours. If their wages go up or down or things change, we may not spend that whole levy amount, so it accumulates in that fund. So the following year, we don't want to keep accumulating, we use some funds on hand along with the next year's tax levy. So whenever you're doing that, the way the books are recorded, you're going to show a negative in that fund. And that holds the same true for the FICA fund, which is based on payroll wages, which for us, we budget full time. We budget what we think we're going to need, full staffing for the year, and inevitably we'll have some vacancies or turnover throughout the year that impacts those numbers. So when we're talking, or when I'm asked about, do you have a balanced budget, what we consider our true 3 main operating funds are the general fund, the rec fund, and our golf fund, that are all balanced to 0. So that's why we have that slight drawdown there. And again, I mentioned that we're planning to break even on all of the other 3 major funds that we have. Okay, so looking at our 2020 operating revenues, 46% of that, just for operations, not the capital piece of our tax levy or debt, represents 46% of all district revenues across the board. Our 2 primary revenue sources as a non-home rule taxing body. All park districts in the state of Illinois are non-home rule, which does not give us the power to create our own taxes. We ask for a levy, and the county calculates what that rate is and then passes it on to our taxpayers. And we also don't have the ability to just generate other fees, motor fuel taxes, like some of our municipal friends or like to see what we would be able to do. So our two main sources really are property taxes at 13.9 million and charges for services at about 10.5 million, and that encompasses everything, all of our program revenues, all of our golf fees, and that is our second largest revenue source at 35%. And then we have some smaller, we have interest income, unfortunately shrinking again. We get replacement taxes from the state a little bit, and then some rental incomes and sales from concessions that we have here. So overall, if we're looking on a budget-to-budget basis, we're anticipating our operating revenues to come in about 2.6 or 750,000 compared to our last year's budget. On the expense side, you also see that we're offsetting because we're always balancing this fund to zero. Wages and benefits, which we keep talking about, there's a good reason. It's 56% of our operating budget. And wages and benefits includes, in our world, it's all salary, wages, insurance, health insurance, unemployment, FICA, IMRF, training. So anything that's related, uniforms to a benefit is within that category. So for $17 million for 2020, it's a large expense for us with over 1,100 employees at our time during the summer months. Overall, we're anticipating a 2.7% increase, or about $780,000 versus last year's budget. And the majority, a lot of that increase is going to be benefit related. Okay, just a quick overview on property taxes. So based on our current information of where we are, we're anticipating in 19 that the average taxpayer, this varies for everyone. We have to be really careful when we put these numbers out because it's really dependent on each homeowner, but on average, we're paying to the district about $368. We are proposing in our levy a slight decrease based on the ADA transition plan and what we have for ADA improvements through the Moser levy. And we would expect then that to go down to about $364 for an average homeowner to pay the district annually in taxes.
That's really a combination of the ADA rate going down and the home value going up, right?
Yes, correct. So in the way that we've done this analysis is when years ago we got an average value of what a home is in Naperville, and we tracked based on the actual EAV increases for the city. So we haven't been going every year to Zillow or even looking at what the city's using. We started with the base year, and if the EAV for the whole city increased 4%, then we increased that home value by 4%. So we're trying to have a consistent methodology every year of rolling that forward. So that's correct, that is that combination.
So it'd be cool to see us, you hold, I don't know if you put a little grid, but this year's budget at 382, so that you get an apples to apples comparison to the 368.
Oh, if it didn't go up. The value didn't go up, just holding it flat.
Because the way that this presents, it almost looks like, don't get me wrong, I'm taking $4, but it's not all that we can cut down our overall levy. We're still dropping everything the same except for that ADA piece, which fluctuates based on the construction.
Right, yeah, we are still, to be clear, the CPI is 1.9%. We are proposing in our levy to take that in here for operations and also for our capital fund. This is just a different graphic. We've used this the past couple years. It just gives a sense overall for a Naperville homeowner where, what portion of your taxes go where. You can see we are in the red at about 5% of the tax bill goes. And obviously, the pennies on the right are the school districts, as they are everywhere else. We see most of the tax dollars operate. So I think we continue to be in a good place and provide value for all that the district does and all the facilities and parks and programs that we put on and the dollars to maintain everything that we have. Okay, breaking down now, that was our whole operating budget, and then when we actually put the budget together, we break down by department, by fund. So this is the general fund, and then each of us, this is the right together by department rolling up to the general fund. General fund is mainly administrative. You see these are all the departments that roll into the general fund. It's about a $7.2 million budget. In the fund itself, we have a 2.2% increase for $154,000 compared to the prior year. And we'll talk in more detail about what drove those increases. And it's funded 94% through property taxes. Overall, once we finish up with the 2020 budget, we'll talk about fund balance reserves. So with all that we have in the budget, the general fund has a 6-month reserve goal policy, and that calculates to be $3.8 million. In 2020, our budget reflects an estimated fund balance of $4.3 million, so there's still a little bit extra in there. We are uncomfortable with that extra, especially, you're going to hear this from all of us about really the minimum wage and compression. We have all spent a lot of time trying to put together what we think is going to work. We are really not going to know until we approach each season and try hiring folks on, who's coming back, who isn't, to know, did we allocate too much, did we allocate not enough? So having a little bit of extra here, this is the fund where we can move money around very easily, unlike our other funds where they're more restricted for that purpose. Okay, going down to, we'll highlight the administration department, which is where we call it raised budget. And there's 2 projects we'll be undertaking in 2020 that we've talked about, and that is the community survey and a related market analysis. And this is, these are the 2 projects that will help drive the roadmap for the future of what we're going to be doing as far as facilities and addressing the space problems that we have. We are also hosting the intergovernmental dinner this year, in 2020. As far as the board's budget specifically, nothing fancy here. It's pretty similar. I'll call out a couple items. We do highlight conference for 5 board members with an estimated cost of $625 or about $3,000 for that. Also, that's for the Illinois conference. Also for the national conference, we have allocated money for 5 board members. And also within the board's budget is the annual support fee for the board docs software that you're all using. I'll just call out our meeting requirements on hiring travel during this, will be noted during this budget then, to be in compliance with the new travel policies in the state of Illinois.
Okay, so I apologize. I'm kind of harping on the same thing a little bit, but in 2020, you're going to see a continued effort, a lot of time devoted by my department in recruiting and retaining staff. Next year, do expect to see, as I bring personnel policies to you for revisions, some revisions that will either expand or allow us to be more flexible in some of the benefits that we can offer our part-time staff. We have made some changes in how we are advertising. I don't know if you caught it in the slide when I was talking about the war for talent and minimum wage, but there was the lifeguard graphic there. That's a graphic that we're using as a banner, and it does highlight what the benefits to the position include, not only just what the starting wages are, but that it's flexible hours, training's included, they have access to the facility. So things like that we're trying to highlight as much as possible. We did make a recent change into the Santa House benefit for staff. Previously, it was a one-night event. So the feedback I received was, well, typically, for some reason, we have bad weather, so it's not convenient for people that are going to bring their families out when it's crummy. And also, for those that have younger kids, they couldn't get those early appointments because other people would jump on them, so it's kind of past bedtime. So what we did this year is employees are eligible for a voucher that allows them to come to Santa House during the open to the public. So they can come anytime they want on those 12 dates and receive a free photo. So we're trying to do things like that. But also, benefits are one component to recruiting and retaining staff. So everything kind of seems to fold up to culture. So we're doing a lot of things for employee recognition. We're maintaining our Spirit Month next year, our 3 main employee recognition events, and to kind of let you know how the culture is feeding into our recruiting plans. We had 67 referrals come through that were hired. And we have an employee referral bonus plan. So the 67, I think, is pretty good. And that really speaks to, hey, this is a good place to work. I like working here. Come on over. Plus the people I like. So that seems to be helping as well. We have some new legislation that we're going to be monitoring and working within so we can be compliant in 2020. One is the recreational marijuana. That is going to lead into more and more reasonable suspicion training for our supervisors and our employees so they can recognize impairment in the workforce and then know what that process is to report it. Another thing that is going to be implemented is the Workplace Transparency Act, which requires us to provide sexual harassment training to each and every employee every year. There is also a supplement for those employees that work in our concessions areas, bars and restaurants, but because alcohol is served at the golf courses and at the cafe, they will have a more in-depth training and also need to receive our policy in English and Spanish. So a lot of time and resources will be devoted to those as well.
Okay, so for finance, we're going to be continuing to refine the budget book, the special thing. We want to standardize something, so we'll be continuing to work with marketing staff, who, by the way, did so much work on this budget that as accountants we just laugh because our stuff is blah blah. And the way that Sam's team really laid this budget out, we're thrilled to look at something different after all these years of the same thing. But and then we'll be working on the minimum wage impacts. We're still trying to develop models and work with some departments where it's just really hard with so many moving parts to nail down what the impacts of that would be. Omar owes me some kind of grant. We haven't decided yet what that is. So I was the IT person today. In the IT department, although Mache, you're here. But they will be working, and Mache will be working on the administrative building core switching at here at Fort Hill, server and PC replacements, printer and plotter replacements, and working on all the technology for the 95th Street Community Plaza and Wolf's Crossing. I'm sure he can tell you a lot more about what a lot of those first things mean if you have any questions. No? Okay. They're going to be busy again next year.
So in accordance with the processes and steps within our capital projects policy, we had a chance to review and analyze capital improvement projects within our 10-year capital plan earlier in the year. That was actually in the first quarter. And then on August 8th of this year, we held the 2020 Capital Project Open House at the Naperville Municipal Center. The input we received as staff from that open house, we incorporated in the designs as well as in the budgets that are incorporated in this larger budget that we're talking about today. So that was all done well in advance based on our policy to where we got to today. Just real quick about the priority of capital projects in this listed in our budget book. But A projects is a top priority, and we have 9 of those. B projects are kind of like projects on the on-deck circle that we have a top priority. But for some reason we had limited resources, they would be actually conducted in 2021. But our intent is to get all those A and B projects done in 2020 if possible. There's 26. There's also 40 projects and initiatives that are listed in the budget book as it relates to capital improvements. And that's also, on top of all that, is the golf improvement project. So a lot to be done in 2020 with respect to capital improvement projects. And so as you see here on the slide, I mean, we all know very well the 95th Street Community Plaza development started construction earlier this year and is slated to be completed by Memorial Day of 2020, with especially the main attraction of that being the splash pad. Knott Park redevelopment, there's 2 phases. The first phase has to do with the girls softball field that School District 203 is currently working on. The second phase, earlier in the year, the Park District executed with School District 203 an intergovernmental agreement, which includes the synthetic turf field, pickleball courts, ADA accessible pathways, and other site furnishings and landscaping part of that project. And then lastly, Wolf's Crossing Community Park Development, extensive community outreach to get to where we are, which goes back in early 2018, and then the approval of the site master plan. So that project was also started earlier this year to be completed in summer of 2020. So this is just a quick rendering of the 90th Street Community Plaza development. So you can see the splash pad area with the playground, the restroom building to the south, the pavilion, the large lawn area, ADA accessible pathways, and nice outdoor classrooms for Park District patrons of the library, school district, one community campus type setting. It will definitely achieve the goals, and this is something a long time coming, as we talked about earlier, for this site at Frontier Sports Complex. This is the Knock Park redevelopment project mentioned earlier. You can see the girls softball field area and the rest of the amenities part of phase 2, which are planned to be completed by the fall 2020 program season. Wills Crossing Community Park, this is under construction, and actually, despite the weather, is going quite well. If you get a chance to drive out there, you'll see there's the main portion of the earthwork has been completed. Now they're focusing on the, you can see that if you go out there, the footprint of the ball field's already set, and the main parking lot areas, and they'll start focusing in on the courts and the central hub area with the splash pad and then the challenge hill and the challenge course. So it's really exciting that this will be done in summer of 2020. And then just real quick, playground renovations, as Ray mentioned earlier, at Bright Ridge Park, Brush Hill Park, and Frontier Sports Complex. And then we show this slide every year. This relates to 2020 capital projects, but showing the fairly even allocation of capital dollars throughout the Naperville community. We're doing our best to ensure when we're looking at our 10-year plan and we have improvements on an annual basis that we're spreading it out as best we can throughout the city.
Okay, so funding for capital, as we know, we're very fortunate here that we have several revenue sources that flow into our capital funding plan. We don't have unless you fund balance reserve policy for capital, but you can see over time it fluctuates fairly significantly depending on what projects are in the queue and also funding sources. So you can see in 18 is where we issued general obligation debt for Wolves Crossing. That was an $11 million issue. And how we're projecting in 19 to draw down those funds, and in 20 we'll be drawing down even further. And we do anticipate, based on our current 10-year capital plan, that we will be drawing down funds for capital over the next couple of years to complete some of the other large projects, which includes golf renovations and also some work we're going to be doing at North Maintenance Shop and just other general capital. It changes every year, but dollar-wise, we're pretty consistent on keeping that 10-year at about $80 million in improvements consistently over time. Okay, so now, so we're done with the general fund. I would just say, as we talk about most of the funds where we say we've increased over the prior years, a lot had to do in the general fund with wages itself. We were fortunate on the health insurance side. I didn't go into details about this. Katie did mention it, and Zeta just mentioned that we were again at a 0% increase for coverage, premium coverage. So that's fortunate because that's a large expenditure for us also. And then a couple of the special projects we mentioned really accounted for most of the increases in the general fund. Rec fund. $15 million budget, and we're planning to break even in 2020. These are all of the parks, all of our parks, divisions, and maintenance all flows through the recreation fund, along with all the departments that are listed here. We're going to kind of end up, Brad's going to go into detail about the fund itself, but I'm going to finish up with where we think we're going to be at the end of the 2020 budget with our reserve. The rec fund does have a reserve goal and a policy, and that, if you recall, when Fort Hill came on board, we updated that policy to be a range of 2 to 3 months of operating expenses. That's a range from $2.5 million to $3.7 million. When we round up at the end of 2020, all went as planned, we'd expect to have $3.5 million in reserve. So we're not exactly at 3 months, but we're between 2 and 3, so we're comfortable now with those amounts on a budgetary basis.
So when we look at the recreation department, it includes the various divisions, facilities that you see listed up there. in addition to our 11 core program areas that we have. When we look at 2019 and what's projected for the year, and looking at all those divisions, facilities, and programs, surplus is projected to exceed budget by about $80,000. A big part of that is due to the success that this facility is having. Affordable Activity Center continues to grow in memberships and the use of the facility. When you look at a year time span between October of 2018 and this year, we actually grew by 17% with our members, or about 858 members. Overall, at the beginning of October, that equates to over 5,900 fitness members. And then when we look at it as a whole, we include our local gym memberships, walk, jog, track, so on. We're at over 9,000 members for this facility. And that doesn't include all of the different programs that also take place within the building. This was a challenging year for our weather-dependent facilities. Not only, we certainly think about the wet spring that we had, but if we go back to the very beginning of the year, we started with the polar vortex, then we go into the real wet spring, then we go into some 90-degree days, which certainly were good for some beach, but not some of the other facilities. Now we're right back at it with early snowfall this year. Centennial Beach ended the year 15% down in attendance. When we compare that to a 3-year average, our revenue was down about 4% compared to the same 3-year average. A big part of that was due to the fact that this year we had implemented a daily rate, daily admission fee increase. So that was part of the revenue not being down as much. Our paddleboat operation, when we look at a 3-year average, our revenue was down about 8%. Riverwalk Cafe, when we look at compared to 2018, was down about 6%. And then Sportsman's trap shooting was down about 12%, or is projected to be down 12% when compared to the 3-year average. So certainly those are our independent operations, and they certainly felt the impact of this year's budget. And then our fee assistance program. We continue to see growth within this program, and our next slide gets into more detail. But right now we're projecting to actually award over $52,000 this year to families who need financial assistance to participate in the programs. This gives a sense as to the demographics that are being served by the fee assistance program. The largest portions being our elementary school age kids, ages 5 to 11. But then right behind that, we have adults, ages 19 to 59 that are utilizing the program. Really, someone in each age demographic, we're hitting each age demographic up there with the assistance. When we look at programs, 357 participated in so far this year in 2019. 262 of beach memberships. Summer school, the partnership program that we do with School District 203, we have 69 kids in that program, or had 69 kids this year that benefited from the fee assistance program. And that's a situation where the Park District, we provide the fee assistance, and then what we don't cover, School District 203 and their foundation then covers the rest of the portion of that money so that child can attend summer school. Fort Hill Activity Center memberships, preschool, we have nearly 200 unique families that are receiving the assistance this year. 457 unique individuals so far in 2019. That's up from 419 unique individuals in 2008. So again, we continue to see the growth of this program, pretty consistent with what the school districts have seen as well, with free and reduced lunch programs and the growth that has occurred there with both districts 203 and 204. You can see the historic growth, $9,600 awarded in 2008, and we're at over $52,000 projected for this year. And the Naperville Parks Foundation, they do assist with providing a portion of funds to support this program. We receive $8,000 from the foundation. Really, that's a result of the Winter Ale Fest that occurs at Frontier Sports Complex in February.
Question?
Yeah.
What has the Parks Foundation provided in the past couple of years?
I believe it's been right around the 8,000.
Right about the same.
Yeah. As we look ahead to 2020, we have wages for several part-time positions that are going to be increased to account for minimum wage and to attract and retain employees. Examples of that include lifeguards. We continue to increase the wages within the lifeguard program to recruit there. A lot of positions that are being impacted by the minimum wage include our day camp counselors for summer day camps, our cashiers, attendants, concessionaires at whether it's Centennial Beach, Centennial Grill, so on, and some of our other positions such as childcare at this facility. So those are areas where we're looking to make increases. To help offset that, program fees and food and garbage menu items are going to be adjusted as needed as we look towards next year to help with those costs. I have provided a few examples of some of the program areas that we will be implementing fee increases in 2020 next year. In the responses to Commissioner Janner's questions yesterday, one other example that I failed to mention in there is with our open gyms at this facility. We will be implementing a daily fee increase. Residents will remain the same at $4 per open gym per day. Non-residents will increase from 5 to 6. And then for the annual memberships, resident annual memberships for open gyms will increase by $20. Non-residents will increase by $30. Open gyms is an area within this facility where we're reaching capacity during several of the open gyms. Certainly a very popular program that we provide here. Fort Hill Activity Center in Centennial Beach, the membership fees are budgeted to remain the same in 2019, same as 2019 in the 2020 budget. Our kayak paddleboat rentals, we're going to make a change and bring those in-house and have them as part of the paddleboat operation at the quarry. We did an evaluation of the operations. We contracted for 6 years with the paddleboard and the kayak operation at that facility. Looking at it and looking at it long term, it makes more sense for the district to be able to roll that into the paddleboat operation. We're certainly capable of doing that. Next year, we will be implementing limited programming at our new park developments, including both 95th Street Community Plaza and Wolves Crossing Community Parks, as well as working with School District 203 and beginning the programming of the Naperville Park Phase 2 developments in the fall of 2020. And then last, next year, we will be, the Recreation Department is in the process right now of developing a new special event that will be held in the fall that's going to be focused on being more of a dog-friendly, pet-friendly event like Rotary Hill. So more to come on that as we get into 2020.
So the marketing department has several initiatives that are coming up for 2020. Believe it or not, when we go to January, it's going to be the start of the 3rd year of our podcasting, which is pretty amazing. So we're looking at it as an opportunity to tweak things a little bit. We're going to add some new music. We're going to refresh the logo and just refresh some of the content in the webpage as far as our resources for each of the podcasts that we're doing. As several of the staff have talked about already, we've got a couple of big openings next year in addition to some playgrounds. So we're going to be working on the events, planning and promoting those for the community. It's been several years since we've done a secret shopping program. It's something that we've done every maybe 3 to 5 years or so. Time to re-engage that initiative again. It's something that we're going to be looking to perform in-house and looking at our different facilities as far as having people shop those facilities and just make sure that our customer service and all the different elements that go into those operations are top-notch in the way that we want them to be. We also will be initiating comprehensive enhancements to our district websites, and that's going to be looking at several different things. Search engine optimization. We're going to be adding some really good and rich content to our websites to make sure that when people are doing a search, we're coming to the top of the page as much as possible. We do have a lot to offer in the Park District, so it's a little challenging in that we're just not, providing widgets. We have so many different types of programs, so that's actually going to be a pretty big project for us developing that content. We're also going to be adding Google Maps to just augment the opportunity for people to best find everything that we have to offer on our websites and locations of our playgrounds and parks and facilities. And then finally, we're going to be developing and initiating our video content plan. We've got a lot of video. We've got assets that we've created, that NCTV has created, other entities, and they're on our website, but I don't feel that they're really benefiting us necessarily as much as they could, so that's all going to roll into the website initiative as well, just to make our websites as information-rich as possible and have people understand who we are, what we offer, and how to find us.
2020 for parks. We will continue to maintain the high quality of our parks and facilities as we always have. We have set an established target of 93% for our parks to meet our maintenance goals. And as you see here, Ray had asked if I would explain just what does park standards mean for the benefit of those of you that are newer to the board. Park standards vary by use of the park and the demand that's placed on the park. With the highest use being the Riverwalk, and will be, and the second park will be coming on at the same level with the 95th Street Plaza. Then your second level is our sports complexes. And our sports complexes, they have a variety of elements. They have many sports fields, whether they're multi-use fields or baseball and softball. They have a sport building. They have trails, and then they have exercise equipment. And that requires higher levels of maintenance. They schedule fertilizer 3 times a year in aeration. Whereas when you get to your neighborhood parks, which have an athletic field and a playground and some other elements, they're only scheduled to have 2 applications. Okay? And then when you get down to your neighborhood park, which has a playground, and that's basically it. Playgrounds are inspected twice a month. Obviously, we mow them and we pick up garbage, but they do not have any scheduled fertilizer or lawn treatment. That's strictly on an as-needed, basis. And of course, our mode 5s are greenways and other areas. They basically just get mowed. And the challenge that we have and the impacts that we have now is a lot of times we cannot fill an individual that would straight trim, on our mowing crew, so they might get missed for a couple of weeks. You may not notice it the first or second week, but you will start to notice it early. Mulching is only required on the mode 1, that is the Riverwalk. And so when you get to your sports and your community parks, it's not a scheduled piece. So what we normally do there is in the summertime, when mowing gets slow, that's if it doesn't rain. Those crews are devoted to that for 1 to 2 days per week. But we don't always get to where we want to get to. We'll maintain and expand our daily contact with our patrons through Park Police. Also, we will expand our ATVs and bike trail bike patrols, which have proven to be very successful. And we're going to continue our Sustainable Parks Initiative for 2019, which includes 75 acres with 8 parks and 70 playgrounds that we maintain as a park district. Also, we will continue our natural area work plan that we created back in 2017 to promote native plant species to our area and remove invasive plant species. And this goes across many different areas from our prairie restoration, shoreline work, etc. Move for the budget for 2020. As I mentioned, the 95th Street Plaza will be maintained as a mode 1. The Wolf's Crossing will be maintained as a mode 3. We have a rather in-depth model that we use when we review the plans, and we assign labor hours to these tasks. Those accumulate up to a number of hours. It came up to over 6,000 hours. So we convert that to the full-time equivalent, and that came out to be 2 full-time positions, 1 9-month position, and some extra seasonal hours that will be added. And also we have 1 position reclass from park support to park specialist. That's recognizing an individual in the North Group who has increased his skill set to bring that in line with park specialist.
Moving on to golf. Looking forward this year to continue our focus on customer service, growth of the game, and our future improvement plans. We're really pleased with our success this year of our online store that we rolled out about this time last year. Early season, preseason online sales totaled almost 29,000, and then during the season we had almost 59,000 in total online sales through October. We're looking forward to kind of expand on what we did this year, starting with our holiday online sales planned for this November and December. And we'll roll out a couple of new things, punch cards, gift cards, and some other things that we'll be able to place on the online store for people to take advantage during the holiday season. And one thing that we'll be looking forward to placing on there is our Brooks Links membership program. We've seen this past year a drop off in our membership program after a couple of years of increased use of the program. So we're going to be pushing that a little bit through our online store, beginning with this holiday season. We have a couple of value-added plans to really promote the program, and we will be pushing that with a couple of other incentives to get people to take advantage of it right before the beginning of the year. We're looking to also continue to grow and maintain our programs, our leagues, and our season reserve tea time programs. This past year, our general programs, adult programs, junior programs, and private lessons all increased by over 19%, and we want to continue with that through 2020. We've been talking about some of the increases in expenses that everybody's talking about with minimum wage increases, so we are going to be instituting a $1 increase on all adult green fees at both facilities this year. Coming up in 2020 also, we are looking at the renovations plan for Naperville Park practice facility. Improvements are going to be including a new practice green and range tee, similar to what we did at Springbrook in 2017. Construction is expected to begin in early August, and we will have the facility fully open in May of 21. And also planning continues on the Springbrook renovations. That construction is scheduled right now to begin in late summer of 21. We expect our engineering and design work to be ready to bid by the end of 2020.
Okay, well that concludes our presentation. Just kind of as a full wrap up, we're in a good place, 2020. Fiscally strong, it's a conservative budget also, and we look forward to our next step, which would be approval of the budget and appropriation ordinance at our December meeting, along with that's when we approve our annual tax levy also at that meeting. So between now and then, if any of you have questions, please let us know.
Yeah, I wanted to just thank you and everyone that was involved in the budget. I thought the new format, like I said in my email, was outstanding. Definitely a fresh look and flowed really, really well. So thanks for creating a format for commissioners to send questions in advance. I think that allows us to get those questions out. You do the research thoroughly and get back to us, which you did. So appreciate that. All positive from my standpoint. Any other comments or anything?
I would agree. I think the presentation is just outstanding. Obviously, the content behind it speaks for itself. The presentation, very well done.
Yeah, having seen many of these over the years, this is really outstanding.
Great, if I could just say one other thing, that as it's a working process, we're going to be revamping the table of contents. And if you have your budget books tonight and you would like to keep them, we would just switch out some pages as we're refining things, or we can print you a copy of it. So after the meeting, if you want to, books I can get back to you on Thursday.
For me, I don't think a new book is necessary just based on table of contents change.
I actually have our box ones here that Carol printed out for you, so you can stick it. There's a staff room and we have a cover page. Whatever your preference is.
Just take the sheet. Yeah.
Okay, how about, I just pass those around.
What do you call it, green initiative? Any other questions or comments from commissioners?
I know Sandy didn't speak tonight, but I did want to. You're good to put this together, the format and stuff, did a great job. So, thank you for all your hard work.
Okay, if there's nothing else, then we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn the November 12th, 2019 special meeting at 7:25.
All in favor? Good night.
Yes, sir.
It's nice.